The blood that binds. Damien. Elena caught him as he collapsed, blood spreading across his white shirt like crimson flowers blooming. His face was pale, eyes unfocused. No, 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 she sobbed, pressing her hands against the wound. Stay with me. Police swarmed Marcus, wrestling him to the ground. An ambulance was called, but all Elena could see was Damien's blood coating her hands. Why? She whispered. Why did you do that? Because. Damien coughed, blood on his lips. Some things are worth dying for. You can't die. Do you hear me? You don't get to sacrifice yourself and leave me with this mess. Always so bossy. His hand reached up, touching her face. I'm sorry. For everything. You deserved. So much better. Shut up. Save your strength. His eyes started to close. Damien. No. Damien. The hospital vigil. 17 hours of surgery. Elena sat in the waiting room, covered in Damien's blood, refusing to move or change clothes. Her mother and Jake, rescued and unharmed, tried to get her to rest. She wouldn't budge. Marcus was in custody. The recording had sealed his fate. Murder charges. Attempted murder. Blackmail. He'd spend the rest of his life in prison. But Elena didn't care about victory anymore. All she cared about was the man fighting for his life because of her. The surgeon finally emerged. He's stable. The bullet missed his heart by centimeters. He's incredibly lucky. Elena collapsed in relief. He's asking for you, the surgeon added. She ran. The truth in weakness. Damien looked small in the hospital bed. Pale. Vulnerable. Tubes and machines surrounded him. His eyes opened when she entered. You look terrible, he rasped. You got shot, idiot. Worth it. You're alive. Your office. Yesterday. You really should check for bugs. Damien's smile widened. You just confessed to murder, Marcus. First degree. Premeditated. You're bluffing. Am I? Damien gestured to the shadows. Police officers emerged, weapons drawn. Marcus Wellington, you're under arrest for the murder of Antonio Romano. Marcus aimed his gun at Elena. If I'm going down, she's coming with me. Damien moved. Fast. Impossibly fast. He threw himself between Elena and the gun just as Marcus fired. The gunshot echoed like thunder. Damien fell. But she couldn't. Fine. We go together. But after this, we're done. Agreed. They drove to the abandoned Romano factory in silence. Rain poured down, turning the world gray and bleak. The factory loomed like a corpse. Windows broken. Walls covered in graffiti. Elena's childhood memories of touring this place with her proud father felt like ghosts. Inside, Marcus waited with 3 armed men. Elena's brother Jake was tied to a chair, gagged but alive. How touching, Marcus said. The loving couple, together to the end. Let him go, Elena demanded. First, I want what I'm owed. Damien's confession. Signed. Along with every piece of evidence you have against me. Damien pulled out papers from his jacket. It's all here. Good. Now about your little marriage. Did Elena ever tell you she's not actually divorced from me? Elena froze. What? Marcus smiled. The divorce papers you signed 5 years ago? I never filed them. We're still legally married. Which means your marriage to Damien is void. Everything you've done together is fraud. You're insane, Elena whispered. I'm thorough. Now here's what's going to happen. Elena, you're coming home with me. We're going to rebuild my empire together like we always should have. Damien, you're going to prison. And little Jake here. He gestured to her brother. Insurance to make sure you both cooperate. Never, Elena said. Marcus pulled out a gun. Pointed it at Jake. Really? You'd let your brother die for pride. Don't hurt him. Elena stepped forward. I'll do whatever you want. Just let him go. Elena, no, Damien said. It's over, Damien. He wins. But Damien smiled. Dark. Dangerous. Does he? He pulled out his phone and pressed play. Marcus's voice filled the factory. The car accident wasn't an accident. I tampered with the brakes after Damien did. Made sure Romano would die. Then I blamed Damien and blackmailed him. Marcus's face went white. Where did you get out? Her scream echoed through the penthouse. You're a monster. Worse than Marcus. At least he was honest about being a snake. You made me love you while hiding that you murdered my father. I never meant for you to love me. Well, I do. Tears streamed down her face. I fell in love with the lie. And I hate myself for it almost as much as I hate you. Damien moved toward her. Let me make this right. You can't. Some things can't be fixed. She stood on shaking legs. The contract is void. The marriage is over. I want you out of my life. Marcus still has the evidence against me. If we separate now, he'll use it. You'll be implicated too. I don't care. Your mother and brother. Don't you dare use them against me. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Elena opened it. It was a photo. Her brother unconscious tied to a chair. Below it, come to the old Romano factory. Alone. You have 2 hours. The sender, Marcus Wellington. The trap. He took my brother, Elena whispered. Damien grabbed the phone. His face went white. It's a trap. I don't care. Elena, listen to me. No. You listen. My brother is the only innocent person in this entire nightmare. And if he dies because of your games with Marcus, I'll make sure you rot in prison for my father's murder myself. She grabbed her coat and headed for the door. Damien caught her arm. I'm coming with you. Like hell you are. Marcus wants us both. He knows about us, about what happened last night. He's been watching. He'll kill your brother either way unless we give him what he wants. And what does he want? The evidence I have against him. And my confession about your father. Elena stared at him. You'd go to prison? To save an innocent kid? Yes. Something in his eyes was raw, honest. To save you from more pain? Absolutely. She wanted to hate him. God, she wanted to. Elena couldn't breathe. You killed my father? It was an accident. But yes, I'm responsible. And Marcus. Marcus found out what I did. He's been blackmailing me for years. That's why I needed you. To destroy him before he could expose me. The betrayal hit like a physical blow. Everything you told me was a lie. Not everything. My feelings for you are real. But my motives. You used me. Elena's voice shook with fury. You murdered my father, then used his daughter to clean up your mess. Elena, please. Don't. She backed away. I want the truth. All of it. Now. The full truth. Damien's face was carved from stone. 10 years ago, your father refused to acknowledge me one last time. He said his legitimate family came first. That I was a mistake he'd provided for, but nothing more. I was furious. Hurt. I wanted revenge. So you killed him. I rigged his car to break down on the highway. Just break down. Force him to call me for help, prove he needed me. But something went wrong. The brakes failed completely. He crashed. Elena's legs gave out. She collapsed into a chair. Marcus Wellington was my business partner at the time, Damien continued. He figured out what I'd done. He's held it over me ever since, threatening to expose me unless I help him with his schemes. The Romano Industries takeover? I provided the funding because Marcus threatened to send evidence of what I did to the police. I tried to stop it, but you're still responsible. For all of it. My father's death. My family's ruin. Everything. Yes. Damien's voice cracked. And when I saw you at that hotel, broken and desperate, I saw a chance to finally end Marcus. To free myself from his blackmail and give your father's daughter the revenge she deserved. I told myself I was helping you. But really I was helping myself. Get out. Elena. Because I've lied to you about everything. 'Cause I'm using you. Because. She kissed him. It was desperate, reckless, wrong. And absolutely perfect. Damien froze for a heartbeat. Then kissed her back with a hunger that stole her breath. His hands tangled in her hair. Her fingers clutched his shirt. When they finally broke apart, both were breathing hard. We can't, Damien said. I know. The contract. I don't care about the contract. Elena, I'm your half-brother by blood, stranger by life. We didn't grow up together. We're not really family. And I don't care what biology says. I feel what I feel. Damien's control shattered. He kissed her again, lifting her into his arms, carrying her toward his bedroom. They fell into bed together, all pretense of the fake marriage burning away in flames of real passion. The morning after, Elena woke alone. Cold sheets beside her told her Damien had been gone for hours. She found him in his study, fully dressed, working as if last night never happened. "Damien, we made a mistake," he said without looking up. The words cut like glass. "A mistake? Yes. It can't happen again." "Why not?" Finally, he looked at her. His eyes were cold, distant. The passionate man from last night was gone. "Because you deserve better than a man who's been lying to you from the start." "What are you talking about?" He pulled out a folder, slid it across the desk. Elena opened it. Inside were documents, financial records, contracts. Her blood ran cold. "What is this?" "The truth. Your father didn't die in an accident because of Marcus. He died in an accident I caused." The room spun. "What?" "I tampered with his car. I wanted to force him to acknowledge me publicly. I was angry, stupid, 22 years old. I never meant for him to die. But he did. And I've been living with that guilt every day since." 2 months passed in a blur of strategy meetings, public appearances, and carefully orchestrated takedowns. Elena and Damien were the city's power couple. Untouchable. Unstoppable. And somewhere along the way the lines blurred. It started small. Damien's hand lingering on her waist a moment too long at events. The way he looked at her when he thought she wasn't watching. The electricity that sparked whenever they touched. Elena told herself it was just the adrenaline of revenge. The thrill of the hunt. But late at night, lying alone in her room, she couldn't deny the truth anymore. She was falling for Damien Cross. And it was wrong in every possible way. The confession. It happened on a rainy Tuesday night. They'd just secured the resignation of another of her father's betrayers. Elena was high on victory, laughing as they stumbled into the penthouse, soaked from the rain. "Did you see his face when we revealed the audit?" she gasped. "Priceless." Damien shrugged off his wet jacket. Elena grabbed towels from the bathroom. When she returned, Damien was staring out at the city, his expression unreadable. "What's wrong?" "Nothing." "Liar." He turned. "You're different now. Stronger. The woman you were when we met, she's gone." "Is that a bad thing?" "I don't know." He moved closer. "The contract said 1 year. We're 8 months in. After this is over, you'll leave. Build a new life. Find someone who deserves you. And you. I'll go back to what I was before. Alone. Building empires. Destroying enemies. That sounds lonely." "It's safe." His voice dropped. "You make me feel things I promised myself I'd never feel again. Dangerous things." Elena's breath caught. "Damien. I'm falling for you, Elena. And I can't." The words hung between them, charged with electricity. "Why not?" she whispered. Elena sank into her chair, adrenaline crashing. It was done. Marcus was finished. The dangerous chemistry. That night, Damien threw a celebration dinner at an exclusive restaurant. Just the two of them, in a private room overlooking the city. "To victory," he said, raising his glass. "To revenge," Elena corrected. They drank. The wine was expensive, smooth, intoxicating. "You were magnificent today," Damien said. "The way you presented the evidence stayed calm while Marcus fell apart. You're a natural. I had a good teacher." "I didn't teach you that strength, Elena. It was always there. Marcus just made you forget it." Their eyes met. Something shifted in the air between them. Something dangerous. Elena looked away first. "We should discuss the divorce. Now that Marcus is handled. The contract says 1 year. But the revenge is complete." "Is it?" Damien leaned forward. "Marcus is arrested, but his lawyers will fight. His family still has power. His allies will regroup. If we divorce now, they'll sense weakness. We need to maintain the facade." "For how long?" "Until we're sure he can never hurt you again." Elena wanted to argue. But another part of her, a part she didn't want to examine too closely, Wasn't ready to end this. Wasn't ready to leave Damien. Fine. We continue the arrangement. Excellent. Damien signaled the waiter. Then we should discuss our next move. What next move? Marcus had partners. People who profited from your father's downfall. They need to pay too. Elena's resolve hardened. Who? Damien pulled out a list. 5 names. 5 people who'd betrayed her father. We take them down one by one. Together. Elena stared at the list, then at Damien. In the candlelight he looked like a dark angel. Beautiful and deadly. Together, she agreed. The cracks begin to show. That's what I thought. Damien moved toward the door. The car will be here in an hour. We have a meeting with the board of Wellington Industries. They're voting on whether to remove Marcus as CEO. I can't do this. Yes, you can. Because underneath the shock and betrayal, you want the same thing I do. He paused at the door. You want Marcus to burn. He was right. God help her, he was right. The power play. The boardroom of Wellington Industries was tense with barely concealed hostility. 15 board members sat around a massive table. Marcus at the head, looking like he hadn't slept in days. And Elena walked in on Damien's arm, wearing a white power suit that screamed confidence. What is she doing here? Marcus demanded. Mrs. Cross is here as my representative, Damien said smoothly, pulling out a chair for Elena. As you know, I recently acquired 42% of Wellington Industries stock. That gives me significant voting power. And my wife has some interesting information to share. Elena stood. Her hands trembled but her voice was steady. 3 months ago, Marcus Wellington orchestrated the hostile takeover of Romano Industries. My father's company. He did this through fraud, manipulation, and she pulled out a folder. Sabotage. She slid documents across the table. Bank records. Emails. Text messages. Everything Marcus had done. This is fabricated, Marcus snarled. The FBI doesn't think so, Damien interjected. They received an anonymous tip this morning. I believe agents are searching your office as we speak. Right on cue, sirens wailed outside. Through the windows they could see federal vehicles pulling up. Marcus lunged across the table toward Elena. You bitch. Damien moved faster, catching Marcus's wrist and twisting it painfully. Touch my wife, and you'll lose more than your company. Security rushed in. Marcus was dragged away, screaming threats and curses. The boardroom erupted in chaos. The morning after truth. Elena didn't sleep. She sat in the study until dawn, surrounded by the evidence of a secret that shattered everything. Damien Cross wasn't just her business partner in revenge. He was her father's illegitimate son. Her half-brother. The marriage certificate on the desk mocked her. Mrs. Elena Cross. She'd married her own brother. You're up early. She spun around. Damien stood in the doorway, dressed in workout clothes, sweat glistening on his skin. He looked powerful, dangerous, and completely calm. You knew, Elena whispered. You knew the whole time. His expression didn't change. I wondered when you'd find out. We're related. We're half-siblings, yes. Same father, different mothers. He walked to the minibar, poured water. Your father had an affair with my mother 30 years ago. She died giving birth to me. He never acknowledged me publicly, but he provided for me. Gave me opportunities. Then he met your mother and pretended I didn't exist. That's why you want revenge? Because my father abandoned you. No. Damien's eyes flashed with something raw. I want revenge because Marcus Wellington killed him, and no one seems to care. Elena's world tilted. What? The car accident wasn't an accident. Marcus tampered with the brakes. I have proof. But I couldn't move against him without destroying your father's reputation in the process. The affair with my mother, the illegitimate son, it would have ruined everything your father built. So you married me to protect you. To keep you close while we destroy the man who murdered our father. He set down his glass. The marriage is legal but meaningless. We're not actually related by blood in a way that matters legally. Different mothers, and the relationship was never acknowledged. But yes, I should have told you. Elena stood, legs shaking. You should have told me everything from the start. Would you have signed the contract if you knew? She had no answer. Damien's expression closed off. The past is full of ghosts, Elena. Focus on the present. Focus on making Marcus pay. He walked to his bedroom and closed the door, leaving Elena alone with questions that had no answers. The secret discovery. Unable to sleep, Elena wandered the penthouse. She found herself in Damien's study. The door was unlocked. Inside, the walls were covered with files, photos, newspaper clippings. All about her father. With trembling hands, she opened a folder. Inside were photos of her father with Damien. They looked close. Like friends. Brothers even. But there were other photos. Her father with another woman. Not her mother. A beautiful woman with dark hair and sad eyes. Elena pulled out a birth certificate from another file. Her hands went numb. The certificate showed a child born 28 years ago. Father. Antonio Romano. Mother Catherine Cross. Child's name. Damien Alexander Cross. The folder slipped from her fingers. Damien was her half-brother. And she just married him. The only mistake I made was wasting 5 years on you, Elena replied. Her voice was steady, strong. But I'm correcting that now. By marrying him? Marcus gestured at Damien. Do you even know who he is? What he's done? I know he's twice the man you'll ever be. Marcus stepped closer, voice dropping to a threatening whisper. You think you can humiliate me and walk away? I'll destroy you. Just like I destroyed your father. The words hung in the air. Several nearby guests gasped. Damien's hand tightened on Elena's waist. Interesting confession. Wasn't that recorded? He gestured subtly to a woman nearby with her phone out. Marcus's face went white. You. Me, Damien agreed. You should be more careful about what you say in public, Marcus. You never know who's listening. The warning. Later that night, back in the penthouse, Elena finally let herself collapse. The adrenaline faded, leaving her shaking. You did well, Damien said, pouring her a drink. I feel sick. That's normal. The first cut is always the hardest. He handed her the glass. Tomorrow that recording will be everywhere. Marcus will spend the next week doing damage control. And while he's distracted, we'll move on his company's assets. Elena drank. The liquor burned. Why are you really doing this? I told you. Marcus betrayed me. There's more to it. I can see it in your eyes. Damien was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, Your father and I were partners once. Before you were born. He trusted me with something precious and I failed him. When he died, I couldn't save him. But I can avenge him. You knew my father? I knew him well enough to know he'd never want to see his daughter married to a snake like Marcus Wellington. Elena stared at this dangerous, mysterious man she'd bound herself to. What else aren't you telling me? I'm not ready to face him. Yes, you are. Damien stood, moving toward her. He stopped close enough that she could smell his cologne. Expensive, masculine, intoxicating. You're not the broken girl he left at the altar anymore. You're Mrs. Elena Cross now. My wife. And I protect what's mine. Something in his tone made her shiver. This is just business. Of course. But his eyes said something different. Wear the red dress. It's in your closet. You bought me clothes? You'll need an entirely new wardrobe for the part you're playing. He grabbed his jacket. I have meetings. My driver will take you shopping. Buy whatever you need. Consider it an investment in our mutual revenge. He left and Elena sat in the massive apartment, wondering what she'd gotten herself into. The transformation. The red dress was stunning. Elegant. Powerful. When Elena looked in the mirror that evening, she barely recognized herself. The broken bride was gone. In her place stood a woman who looked like she could burn the world down. Damien appeared behind her reflection. Perfect. She turned. He wore a black tuxedo that made him look like sin incarnate. For a moment they just stared at each other. Ready to make Marcus regret every choice he's ever made? Damien asked. Elena smiled. It wasn't a kind smile. Let's destroy him. The gala of reckoning. The ballroom glittered with crystal chandeliers and false smiles. Everyone who was anyone in the city had come to see the scandalous new couple. Elena walked in on Damien's arm. Every head turned. Whispers erupted like wildfire. And there across the room stood Marcus. His face went pale when he saw her. "Showtime," Damien whispered in her ear. They glided across the floor. Marcus couldn't seem to move, frozen as they approached. "Marcus," Damien said pleasantly. "Congratulations on your engagement." "Oh wait, that's right. That didn't work out, did it?" Marcus's jaw clenched. "Elena, you're making a mistake. Revenge, satisfaction, and the pleasure of watching Marcus Wellington burn." Elena stared at the contract. Every rational part of her screamed to run. But the part that was drowning in betrayal and rage? That part wanted blood. "What are the terms?" "We live together. Attend events together. Convince the world we're madly in love. Everything else is negotiable." "No. Physical relationship? Not unless you want one." His smile was wicked. "Though I warn you, Elena, I'm very good at blurring lines." She should say no. Walk away. Find another way. But there was no other way. Marcus had made sure of that. Elena grabbed the pen. 1 year. Then I'm free." "Then you're free," Damien agreed. She signed. The moment her signature touched the paper, thunder cracked overhead. Lightning illuminated Damien's face, and for just a second, Elena saw something dark and dangerous lurking behind those ice-blue eyes. She just made a deal with the devil. The first move. 3 days later, the scandal hit every news outlet. Runaway bride marries billionaire Damien Cross in private ceremony. Marcus Wellington left at altar, fiancé chooses mysterious tycoon instead. From wedding disaster to whirlwind romance, the Elena Romano story. Elena stared at the headlines on her phone. They sat in Damien's penthouse apartment overlooking the city. Everything here was cold, expensive, and perfect. Just like him. "Marcus called 17 times this morning," Damien said casually, sipping his coffee. "He's panicking." "Good. His stock dropped 15% when news of our marriage broke. Investors are questioning his judgment. Wondering what you know that made you run." Elena felt a dark satisfaction. "Is this how revenge feels? This is just the beginning." Damien set down his cup. "Tonight, there's a charity gala. Every major player in the city will be there, including Marcus." Elena spun around. A man stood in the shadows. Tall, dark-haired, wearing an expensive suit that screamed power and danger. "Who are you?" He stepped into the light. His face was sharp, handsome in a cruel way. His eyes were ice blue and calculating. Damien Cross. That name. From the documents. "You," Elena whispered. "You helped him destroy my family. I provided funding for a business acquisition. What Marcus did with that opportunity was his choice." Damien moved closer. "But I have a proposal for you, Elena Romano. I want nothing from you. Not even revenge." Elena froze. Damien smiled, cold and predatory. "Marcus Wellington humiliated you. Destroyed your family. Threatened your mother and brother. Don't you want to make him pay?" "How?" "Marry me instead." Elena laughed bitterly. "You're insane." "I'm serious. A contract marriage. 1 year. In exchange, I'll destroy Marcus's empire piece by piece. I'll protect your family. Give you the resources to rebuild everything he took." "Why would you do that?" "Because Marcus double-crossed me on a deal 6 months ago. I don't forget betrayals." His eyes glinted dangerously. "And because I'm curious to see what a woman like you becomes when she stops being a victim and starts being a weapon. The devil's contract. You want me to fake marry you to get revenge on my ex-fiancé who was fake loving me to steal my family's company?" "Exactly. That's insane. That's justice." Damien pulled out a contract from his jacket. 1 year. We play the happy couple in public. You get access to my resources, my connections, my money. Together, we dismantle everything Marcus built. After 1 year, we divorce quietly. You walk away with enough money to rebuild your family's legacy. And what do you get? But the worst? A contract signed 6 months ago. A deal between Marcus and someone named D. Cross to destroy the Romano family business and split the assets. Elena's father had died in a car accident 3 months ago. The company went bankrupt 2 weeks later. Her family lost everything. And Marcus? He'd been there, playing the supportive fiancé, holding her while she cried. All while he orchestrated their destruction. A sound made her spin around. Marcus stood in the doorway, still in his tuxedo. His face showed no guilt, only annoyance. "You weren't supposed to see that," he said calmly. You killed my father? Don't be dramatic. I had nothing to do with the accident. I just took advantage of the opportunity." Elena couldn't breathe. 5 years. 5 years, Marcus. He shrugged. "Business is business, Elena. Your father was weak. His company was failing anyway. I just helped it along." He stepped closer. "Now you can either walk down that aisle and smile, or you can make a scene and destroy what little dignity your family has left. You monster." "I'm practical." He reached for her hand. "Come on. Our guests are waiting." Elena yanked away. "I'd rather die than marry you." His expression hardened. "Then your mother loses her house next week. Your brother's medical bills? I'll make sure no hospital touches him. You think you have nothing left to lose? Think again." He walked out, leaving Elena standing in ruins worse than her wedding dress. The stranger's proposition. Elena didn't go to the altar. She ran. Still in her wedding dress, she ran through the hotel, past shocked guests, past her crying mother, past everything. She ended up on the hotel rooftop. Rain began to fall, soaking her dress, her hair, her face. Or maybe those were tears. She couldn't tell anymore. Jumping won't solve your problems. The day everything burned, the white dress felt like a prison. Elena stood in the bridal suite, staring at her reflection in the mirror. Her heart should have been racing with joy. Instead, it pounded with a strange sense of dread she couldn't explain. "You look beautiful, sweetheart," her mother whispered, adjusting the veil. Elena forced a smile. In 3 hours she would marry Marcus Wellington, the man she'd loved for 5 years. The man who promised her forever. The man who made her believe in fairy tales. If only she knew fairy tales were just pretty lies. The message that changed everything. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Elena almost ignored it, but something made her look. Checked Marcus's office. 3rd drawer. "Before you say I do." Attached was a photo. Marcus. Another woman. Their lips locked in passion. The timestamp showed yesterday. The day he claimed he was in meetings all day. Elena's hands trembled. Her vision blurred. This couldn't be real. "Elena? Are you okay?" her mother asked. I need a moment alone." Her mother hesitated, then left the room. Elena's fingers flew across her phone. She called Marcus. No answer. She called again. Nothing. Then she did something desperate. She called his assistant, Jennifer. "Jennifer, I need to get into Marcus's office. Right now." "But Miss Elena, the wedding." "Now." 20 minutes later, Elena stood in Marcus's office wearing her wedding dress. Her hands shook as she opened the 3rd drawer. Inside lay a folder marked confidential. She opened it. Her world shattered. The truth in black and white. Documents. Dozens of them. Bank statements showing money transferred from her father's company to Marcus's account. Emails discussing the acquisition of her family's business. Text messages laughing about marrying the desperate daughter to secure the deal.